Good afternoon. This is the Transportation Committee meeting. Today is Monday, April 25th. The first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the March 28th meeting. If there are no additions or corrections, we'll consider a motion to approve those as written.
I'll move approval of the March 28th minutes.
Second, all in favor say aye. Aye. That motion passes. Next item on our agenda is a new applicant for a TNC permit. The Right Choice Transportation, Inc., LLC, owner Derek Payne. Detective Pitts, you want to speak to this one?
Yes, so Mr. Chairman, we have a new application for a non-emergency medical transportation license, the Right Choice Transportation, LLC. And Mr. Chairman, this applicant has met the necessary requirements to move forward with the application.
All right. Is the owner present? Sure. Detective Pitts, while he's coming to the podium, I did notice that the okay, never mind. I see it. All right. Mr. Payne, just it's your opportunity to tell us what you're doing and add any other comments. You get your 5 minutes of fame here.
5 minutes of fame. Thank you so much, Committee Chair, Councilor Quinn, Councilor Tate, and my counselor in District 1, Councilor Woods. My name is Derek Payne. This is my wife, Winifred Payne. We are co-owners of the Right Choice Transportation, and we are a non-emergency medical transportation system. And we are here today to, and hopefully that we can acquire a license to transport citizens of Birmingham and their medical appointments. That's why we're here today, and we just appreciate the opportunity to come before you today. Absolutely.
What kind of vehicle are you going to be using?
Yes, sir. We have a Ford Transit, 2019 Ford Transit 350, a wheelchair, because we are wheelchair accessible.
Okay.
ADA appliance, so we do ambulatory and wheelchair. So that's what we are.
All right. Many members, you guys have any questions?
Just comment. Good to see you here, and like I said, Detective Pitts said everything seems to be in order. So excited to offer a motion to move you to the full council. So at this time, I'll move for approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you. And this will likely be on the city council agenda within the next week or two.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Next up on our agenda, we have Mr. Ted Gimberling, who's here from the Transit Citizens Advisory Board. He sent my office a letter sharing some concerns, and I wanted to ask him just to come and share those as part of the committee meeting.
Thanks a lot, Councilor O'Quinn. Just in case someone may not know, the Transit Citizens Advisory Board transit in Birmingham and the whole state of Alabama. We were set up by state statute about 9 years ago. I am a big supporter of our rental scooter and bike program in Birmingham. I think it's wonderful technology. It's helping a lot of fun for them. It gives them an additional avenue of mobility in the city.
Mr. Gimberling, I'm going to have to ask you to hold the mic. We're having some trouble hearing you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was just saying that, I do really support our rental scooter program generally. But these are things that need to be used responsibly, and they have not been. And one of the areas where they sometimes haven't been, parking. We have 2 members in TCAP, and one of them tripped on a scooter that had been dropped carelessly on the sidewalk. Shows gross disregard for the welfare. I looked up the rules for parking in our city as that they are supposed to be parked in designated places. And I know that you recognize those because they're painted on. And if you don't park in those places, we have at least 2 companies that provide Vio and Gotcha. And I looked at the Vio website. They had some really good common sense guidelines. So that's a pedestrian can go by, especially someone. Now, one thing that I've noticed some improvement recently. It's been a few weeks since I've seen a scooter lying right on the sidewalk. See, so I kind of wonder if maybe riders may have been warned at some point. Careful, or they could lose their privilege to use it. Interesting to know the history of enforcement of the rules on parking. We have 2 companies, and I wonder are they the ones that enforce the rules, or is there something?
Sure.
Is there some coordination between them by the city of Birmingham?
Yeah, so the couple of things. So just to answer that immediate question. So the City Department of Transportation, actually, Ms. Christina Argo, that's part of her job, is to interact with both Vio and Gotcha or whoever else may be the shared micromobility provider for Birmingham. And part of her responsibility is to share these concerns and complaints with those companies. In addition to that, I've established, or up until recently, have been having monthly meetings with them to sort of reinforce those concerns. And I can tell you that riding on the sidewalk and then vehicles that are just inappropriately parked are probably the two biggest things that we hear about from the community. And there is definitely the expectation is that the vehicles, whether it be a bike or a scooter, or now they even have, like moped-like vehicles, that they would be returned to the corrals. And we intentionally included that in the ordinance, that allowance for a corral, because we wanted them out of the pedestrian right-of-way, and we wanted to create the expectation also that these are supposed to be used on the street. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that there's definitely an expectation that they should be parked, used appropriately while you're using them, but also not parked where pedestrians could be potentially trip over them. I could tell you that in developing the ordinance, we did not put in a provision for, or a requirement or a mandate that the rebalancing of the vehicles be done on a very frequent interval. So currently the only provision in the ordinance is that if a vehicle is reported to be inappropriately parked and the city staff communicates that to the vendor, there's a requirement that they attend to that situation. I believe it's within 72 hours. Yes. And so I don't know, if there's been a situation like that where we've had to, go to enforcement. I expect not, because both of the vendors have local management and they've been very responsive. In my conversation with them about the parking issue and the need for more frequent sweeps to be done to get these things, off of the sidewalks and back into the corrals, they're facing the same situation that pretty much every employer is facing and trying to get additional staff employed to be able to.
Yeah, I know that's been sitting on the lawn in my apartment complex for about 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that. Yeah.
So they do. The vendors have set up reporting mechanisms that we could share with you. It's been a frequent issue that we've heard, and so we've tried to communicate out whenever possible about how people can have those particular situations addressed. But that's, usually the mechanism is that if you find one that's been sitting on the lawn of your apartment complex for longer than it should be, then don't hesitate to reach out to the vendor directly. If necessary, there has been some conversation around actually amending the ordinance to actually require the vehicles to be rebalanced or moved on a more frequent basis. So we tried, or the intent in developing the original ordinance was not to be so onerous as to make doing business in the city of Birmingham unattractive. So we want the companies to be successful because we want the amenity to be available. And so we erred on the side of, using standard best practices, even though we knew in other cities that this was also an issue, that was frequently came up. We elected not to, put that sort of provision in place, and that would be, I wouldn't say out of line with what other cities have done, but it would definitely require, more employees and more expense on the vendor side. But in any case, I want to know that, definitely hear your concern in embarking on this whole initiative to bring shared micromobility to Birmingham. Having vehicles parked on the sidewalk was a number one concern, and something that we anticipated and tried to account for by having a different model where the vehicles get parked in a designated space outside of the sidewalk. And it's been one of those things that we're trying to learn and grow with the vendor. So please, communicate back to your folks that, it's something that we're definitely aware of. I will say that I'm not sure about I'm forgetting their name, but the VO does have an escalating fine for users who break the rules. So if when their staff does pick up vehicles, they have the capacity to say, okay, this user did not do the right thing, and they can assess a fine. If that user breaks that rule again, the fine increases, and I think it goes up up to, you have like maybe 4 chances. On your 4th chance, the fine is about $50+, and then the 5th time you're just banned completely. So there is, on the vendor side,
gradient in fines. I'm glad to hear
right?
that. And
Yeah,
I hope that's true with Gotcha as well.
Yeah. I will tell you, just to be completely transparent, that in our conversations with VO about this, they are having to encourage their staff to actually flag users who aren't, following the rules. So it's something that they're aware of and trying to correct. But I just wanted you to be able to, number one, come and share those concerns, so that the vendors can be aware that we're talking about this issue publicly in a meeting that's being broadcast. And number two, just have the opportunity to share with you and others some of the history and how we're attempting to deal with the issue.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Counselors, did you guys have any questions or anything else you want to interject?
No, I mean, you covered it, but really I think we'll get into this and just follow up. It sounds like there's some things in place already that if they utilize them properly, we can kind of impact this issue. And so know through this committee, we'll stay up to date.
All right. Next up, we have ALDOT, ALDOT Interstate Lighting Agreement. Ms. Argo. So this says interstate lighting, but it's actually looks like the state roadways agreement that you brought a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I was looking at that and I was like, because that is a different topic. But as far as the agreement for interstate lighting, it is in the office of the city attorney right now. But I wanted to provide you guys an update related to kind of what's happening with that. So,
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Sure.
So as you guys know, the city is pursuing a partnership with ALDOT to restore key interstate lighting, lighting in areas ahead of the upcoming World Games. And so I'm just going to go through the areas. Is everybody familiar with the areas? Do you want me to tell you about the intersections that they're going to be working on? And I do have a map if that is helpful.
So the agreement that I'm aware of, or the project that I'm aware of, would basically span from 12th Avenue North in Norwood to the 2059 interchange in Woodlawn?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically. And then it includes some interchanges on I-65 as well.
Okay.
So I will give you guys this. I'm sorry, but I have it before. So this is the agreement that we were talking about. So it's I-2059 from downtown to the split near the airport, 2059 at Arkadelphia Road, 2059 at the Inslee Five Points interchange, I-65 at Green Springs Avenue, and University Boulevard. That sound familiar?
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that's actually bigger than the original project, but that's good.
Okay, good. So the city is proposing to pay AlDOT $1.4 million for this project, which works out to be approximately half of the overall cost. AlDOT's getting started now, and we hope to have the majority of this work completed by the World Games. If it's not fully completed, then the hope is that the lighting right at each interchange is at least completed, so it has the most bang for our visitors. The AlDOT is working with a contractor they procured using their bid process, and as I mentioned before, the agreement is currently in the office of the city attorney, and we will be presenting that to you guys and to the council and probably the next meeting. So we're really excited about this partnership. We're grateful that AlDOT is willing to work with us on this maintenance agreement, and the lights will be back on soon.
So I'm curious, so when, Councilor Hoyt was chair of the committee, Director Fowler actually brought this project to us. At that time, it was 12th Avenue and Norwood on 2059 to the interchange in Woodlawn. And it got through the committee. I guess it didn't go to the council. Can you share any information about why, what had to be done? In addition, why are we still talking about this several months later?
It's a very complex issue. It doesn't seem like, flipping the switch on some lights should be this complicated. And I haven't been as involved in the details as Director Fowler has. He did share with me that previously we were working on an agreement that included Alabama Power. And as we dug into that, we realized that it's really challenging from both a technical and a regulatory standpoint to involve Alabama Power.
Because they're a public utility.
Right. So it gets into creating safe work zones, type of lighting that's used, property ownership agreement. So if I had to guess, that is probably what happened. We were working on an agreement that included Alabama Power, and then we bidded and realized, okay, if we want to get this done in a timely fashion, we're going to move forward with this agreement with AlDOT. So it is something that we're hopeful we can work out in the future to include Alabama Power, but for now, this is how we're going to get the project done.
Okay. I don't guess you have any kind of stats on like the number of fixtures and lights and all those sorts of things?
Yeah,
okay.
I might can get that. I'll make a note.
Okay, I'm just thinking of that because, just for the general public to know kind of what to expect for, I guess, $2.8 million total project cost.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's a project scope that I can get my hands on.
All right. Thank you. And so the idea is for lighting to be restored prior to July 7th.
That's correct.
Somebody better get busy.
There's a lot of work happening around town right now. So.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So now we're going to talk about the state highways lighting agreement maintenance.
We're not going to talk about that this week.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm prepared to talk about the interstate lighting. I think confusion on my part. Director Fowler promised me in the next couple weeks we'll have an update on that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will just share with the committee members one tiny piece of information that Director Fowler mentioned to me is that in this agreement, all of the roadways are listed by the state designation, and when we commonly refer to a lot of our roadways, we might use other designations like US 78. And to be honest with you, I have no idea what the state designation for US 78 is, but it's probably one of these in this list. So this should be the concern that we raised earlier, I think will pretty easily be addressed.
Matching up some of these
Right.
routes to the roads that we're familiar with.
Yeah, and
Right.
the one thing that I can say that would be helpful is if we have a map when you guys do bring it back to us,
Okay.
that would be helpful.
Do that.
All right, great. There's something else we wanted to ask her about? Yes. Hang around.
I won't go anywhere. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next up on our agenda is a discussion around our taxi cab fares. So if you recall, our previous meeting, the folks from Z-Trip, came and wanted to talk about adjustment to the city's tax cab fares. So I'm sorry, I'm blanking on your name, Ms. Austin? Yes, Austin, can you come forward and just kind of give us a summary of what your request is? And then I think Attorney Bernard is here to share with us as well. Is that right? Okay.
So essentially what we're proposing is just a mileage meter rate increase, going from 25 cents per 8th mile to 32 cents per 8th mile, and then increasing the hourly wait time rate from $24 an hour to $30 an hour, and also implementing a $1 temporary fuel surcharge until the price of fuel goes down.
Okay. Attorney Bernard, so I've actually talked to Julie about this, and just based on my conversation with her, the ordinance does provide a provision for the chief of police and the director of our finance department to make administratively make adjustment to the taxi cab or to the fares. So we actually invited them to participate in this meeting today, but I don't see Director Moore or Chief Thurman here. Are there representatives from finance or the police department present other than you, Detective Pitts? I guess not.
No.
So, Attorney Bernard, how would you suggest that we proceed?
Good afternoon. Julie Bernard, the Office of City Attorney. I guess that's my concern. I've gotten informal requests coming at me, from different areas. We have a procedure in the Office of City Attorney, and we take our assignments from internal. So primarily, I need to know how we want to proceed, and what's better. There is this provision in the ordinance that allows it supposedly allowed for an annual update, but I don't think that the city has ever implemented making those adjustments since that provision was put in. The first communication I got, I kind of thought that was the way it was going. And then now I'm seeing that it's more let's just amend the fares. That is up to the city council and, as to how, if you want to permanently amend the ordinance, I mean, nothing's permanent. You can always amend it or, change it back later if you want to make it a temporary amendment, or if you want it to proceed with the formula that's in the ordinance to adjust the fares. So I just need, to work on it, need a formal request from inside the city as to, and to know what we want to do with it. If we're going to amend the ordinance, then that would come through the Office of City Attorney and go through the City Council. The procedure that is in the ordinance for the adjustment administratively doesn't require it going back through the council for approval. So,
Right. So my, personal opinion is that that allowance in the ordinance is there for a reason. And, we know gas prices are high today. They could be very much higher, at any point in the future, maybe even within, months. I mean, it's highly variable. So the administrative, adjustment is there to not have to go through committee meetings and council meetings and amending ordinances. So it seems like that would be the path of quickest resolution for you, Mr. Bonner, and perhaps the easiest thing for us also on the city administration side. Councilor Woods, Councilor Tate, you guys have any thoughts?
Mine mainly are just around the gas temporary increase piece, and so that would make more sense to do that on the administration side, because we wouldn't necessarily, unless we put a certain trigger in there for it to cut on and cut off, gas prices dropped or just a general baseline, gas gets more expensive just outside of some of the other factors going on right now. So what mechanism would you recommend for basically allowing the surcharge and then doing away with the surcharges?
So, Attorney Bernard, if we were to formally in this meeting trying to find the right word, seek your intervention, would that be the appropriate mechanism to, kicking in communication between all the entities that need to be talking about this?
well, we would need to get an intake form. If we have a request to amend the ordinance, then, or to advise on something, then we need an intake form from either the council or from the administration side. I have not spoken with either Chief Moore or Chief Thurmond, so I don't know what their positions are, on it. So,
Okay.
that's.
So committee, I'm happy to submit the intake form on behalf of the Transportation Committee to sort of get the wheels turning on this.
Yeah, I think just the general increases just for today's cost associated with everything except for the gas piece, because I think we need to figure out exactly how to for that to automatically shut off without legislative action again, so to speak. And so,
Right. So your concern is that if there is an adjustment, that it also have the capacity to be adjusted back the other direction.
yeah, unless we set some sort of just sunset date, like 6 months or something like that. But yeah, because you don't want to have to come back to
Right.
constantly adjust or if there's language in there that would tie that to the gas international market rate or something like that.
Right.
I wasn't involved in drafting the provisions on this administrative adjustment, and so I can just speculate that, I think it was there so that there could be, it was supposed to be an annual adjustment, and it could go up. I think it also could go down. I'd have to look back in detail at what it is. We could look at that to try to get the quicker, get relief for the businesses now. And I think, and it needs to be understood, too, when we're talking the fare, we're talking a maximum fare. It's not, no particular company has to charge that amount. It's up to that amount, so it's a business decision for them as to, what they charge in that range. But it is, we don't know where gas prices are going, so as you said, it could go up dramatically in the next month, 6 months. It could go down again dramatically in the next 6 months. So if we need to tweak anything in that administrative procedure, that may be something that, we want to look at going forward to make sure it's clear as to, how the adjustment and whether it has to be an annual, because right now we're living in a cycle we don't know where things are going every few months.
Just out of curiosity, do you know the last time that the ordinance was amended in terms of the fares?
I think 2012.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
As far as the fare, and I think that was either when that administrative adjustment was put in, or it may have been put in earlier, but I think it may have been the 2012 as best I've been able to see. That may have been when it went in.
Okay. All right. So, yes, we'll proceed by submitting an intake form to the Office of the City Attorney. Mr. Bonner, I apologize that you're here and we didn't get it fixed today, but this is city government.
I understand. We're just trying to get it done as fast as we can to help our drivers out.
Right.
That's the biggest concern for us. We don't take anything out of pocket from this increase at all. It's going straight to our drivers.
Yeah, so, perhaps that might be helpful just to offer a little explanation. I kind of assume that Z-Trip, all of the vehicles are owned by the company. You guys have a refueling station. How does it actually work?
So we operate just like a standard taxi company. We offer a vehicle for lease, for a daily lease rate. We offer technological services, dispatch services, and maintenance of the vehicles. The fuel is completely left up to the driver themselves. We don't provide fuel at all. So that's where a lot of this comes from. We're not paying for this each individual person who's running their own independent business. It's paying for their own fuel.
Wow.
So they're taking the burden of all the fuel increase.
Okay, good to know. All right. I think we've got our marching orders on that one, so thank you. Appreciate you bringing this to our attention.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda, old and new business. Do we have any old and new business to discuss? Oh, yeah, that's right. HABD has a addendum item. HABD and the BRT project.
Good afternoon to the committee. Jim Stanley from the Office of the City Attorney. What you have before you is approval of a deed where the Housing Authority is going to convey some additional property at the Loveman Village redevelopment to the city. This will be used as additional sidewalk for the BRT in order to better connect that development to the transit stop. You may recall a few months ago we had a matter where they conveyed property, same area, to the city for the actual stop itself. This is for the sidewalk that will give them connection. They're basically donating it. Their board met and decided they could just transfer it for nominal consideration.
Right, $10, right?
$10.
Yeah. Okay. Nice round number there. I don't have $10 on me, but, you know, if I had it, I'd give it to you. All right, so just for context, DOT, the U.S. DOT on these types of projects actually require sidewalk connectivity to these stops. I'm saying this because I've seen some, you know, public commentary on some sidewalk repairs that have been going on in areas that aren't, you know, full of pedestrians. If you observe, you know, sidewalks being repaired in the middle of an industrial district, and there's a BRT stop, that's why, is because of federal regulations. Committee, how would you guys like to proceed on this matter?
Yeah, I'll offer a motion. I move approval.
Second the motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes.
Those
Thank you.
BRT stops look really good.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think the one on 18th Street next to Railroad Park has the canopy. Miss Bell, do you want to offer any
We've got Miss
update
Bell.
on the BRT project? You trying to sneak out?
Please come forward.
You just got caught in the crossfire.
You can't hide behind the mask. I recognize you.
Denise Bell, Service Director of Capital Projects, and thank you for that compliment. They
Very
do
well, very well.
They do look great. It's coming along very well. We are right now almost 70% complete with the canopies. So you should see some with the benches on the west side, and the trash cans and all will follow, basically. So we're starting with the west and we move eastward.
Okay. Do any of the stops have the ticketing machines or the kiosk yet?
Not just yet. Not yet. We're
Okay.
working on it, but you can't put too much out there right now because it will come up missing.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a strategy on when we put things out there.
Yeah. Okay, so my understanding is that they're going to go into non-revenue service like towards the end of May. Is that what you're hearing as well?
No, not the end of May. Non-revenue service. No,
Right,
we're
yeah,
still
so like
targeting June.
I mentioned this because the buses are going to be running on the BRT, but they're not going to be taking any passengers for at least my understanding is like it's a couple of week period at least. So people will start seeing the bright orange buses going up and down the route, but you won't be able to get on it, and that's why. But the revenue service is supposed to start in June sometime.
Yes,
from when
there's a period between when we do substantial completion and when the feds actually approve it. So they do have to still come in and actually review everything, put their eyes on it, make sure all the checks and balances are in place. Then they can approve it for revenue.
Right. All right. Thank you.
So is that like just a testing period where they're just driving around for 2 weeks?
Yeah, and it's another US DOT thing where you got to go through all the motions, make sure the
Pretty, but you still got to
I
keep.
just imagine people trying to catch it. And
yeah. Yeah.
T is terrible.
It's, yeah, going to be getting some calls to the office, I'm sure. Yeah. All right. If we have no additional new or old business, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move adjournment.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.